Hi everyone, please take note of the following disclaimer. Please note that this video is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes. It does not constitute financial advice. We are not registered financial advisors. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, your number one source for income-oriented investing where we don't ignore total returns. And I just want to take a look at this recent article, not that recent, February 12th. What can I say? I was at the beach house, guys. But I'm catching up on everything that's been happening. So BMO, not BMO, BMO, expands ETF lineup with new target cash flow units. So it looks like they are launching .T versions of many of their existing or all of their covered call ETFs, including a non-covered call ETF, including ZEQT, which is like XEQT. They're all in one. It looks like they're doing a .T version, which is going to have a target yield of 6%. But we know that they're still, in terms of AUM, I believe the number one biggest player for covered call ETFs in Canada. And I've been waiting and asking them and talking about with them launching leveraged versions for a really long time to get those yields up, because BMO has some of the lowest yields on the market. But it looks like they're launching these target yields. And for example, ZWC, which is typically like 6% yield, the Canadian dividend one is 10% target. And for all of them, there's a specific target yield. So this is very, very interesting. I got this graphic here, which explains a little bit more in detail. So it looks like they're doing this to not only their covered call ETFs, but a couple of other ones, including ZBAL, ZGRO, and ZEQT. These are some of their very popular asset allocation ETFs. Of course, personally, I would always go with the ZEQT, right? The all equity one. Stocks, 100% stocks. I think the balanced funds, 60-40 funds are absolutely terrible. They're dead. You don't need those anymore. But so they're launching .T versions of all of these. So you see that for their covered call ETFs that focus on dividend stocks in Canada, Europe, global ZWG, and even the new covered call spread gold bullion, looks like they're going to be aiming for 10% yield, which is, quite a bit significant. Some of them probably like double the yield here. You have other ones focused on the US. I'm not surprised to see the ones focused on US have a little bit higher target, because a little bit more volatility, a little bit more liquid options market, a lot more liquid options market. So the ZWA, which I even forgot existed, this is the Dow Jones covered call ETF, but the ZWH, the US dividend one, even the technology one, ZWT, which has phenomenal total returns, their healthcare one, and also the hedged dividend one. Those are going to be targeting 11%. ZWK, US banks, 12%. The energy and Canadian banks one is still their most popular one, ZWB, which, competes with HMAX and a million other ones, 13%. And their utilities one, I was very surprised to see their utility ZWU.T is going to target 15%. So how are they going to be doing this? Because from what I could see, they're not adding leverage, right? So how are you getting extra yield by not adding leverage? Are they changing their covered call strategy on the .T versions? Are they writing more covered calls? I'm not sure. I personally don't think so. I think that they're just targeting paying out more of the NAV, paying out more in distributions to you. But hopefully, maybe I could do a Q&A, or organize a Q&A with someone at BMO for this. We'll see if they want to do that video. But the point is really to, and I'll put a link to this document and as well as this article, but this is really the document you want to look at in the video description. I'll actually pin a comment. But basically, they're doing a target of that yield, and they're resetting it every year, basically. So looks like they're trying to deliver something a little bit more higher yield, but also very predictable, more kind of like a managed distribution, target distribution, which I think that kind of concept is getting a little bit more popular, where, okay, you're getting 10%, 11% or 12% every month, you know what you're going to get. And then the following year, I guess at the beginning of every year, it's going to be reset based on the net asset value. So my guess is if the US banks, for example, have a really, really good year and the net asset value goes up, well, they're targeting 12% of the net asset value, right? So if the fund actually manages to go up from prior year, your distribution is probably going to go up because they're going to reset it and the NAV is higher. So the distribution is going to be higher. But the opposite is also true as well, right? If energy or the Canadian banks have a flat or negative year, you could probably expect a smaller distribution. But at least you know what you're going to get for the year, right? I think that's what they're trying to do. So I'm still very disappointed, to be honest, that they're still not embracing a modest amount of leverage. I don't understand why, with the success that their competitors are having. I personally don't get it. Doesn't seem like they're going to be embracing leverage, unfortunately, but they're looking to at least offer higher yield somehow. But how are they getting the yield if they're not going to change their strategy? If they're still going to do out of the money calls on 50% of the portfolio, it just means they're giving out more than NAV, which is it grinding the NAV? Is it bad rock? I mean, it could be, I guess. Remember the video I did recently, guys, on the income? So what is covered call income? I guess maybe it's not as bad as we maybe think what they're going to be doing. I'm not sure. This, by the way, this is the video that I'm referring to, covered call dividends or covered call income. What is that income that they're generating? I suggest you watch that video. It's a very, very important concept to understand if you're a covered call investor, ETF investor. I highly recommend you check it out. I'll put that also. I'll pin that as a comment. But essentially, the distributions every month that we're getting from our covered call ETFs, guys, comes out of the net asset value, right? So it looks like with these targeted ones, they're just going to be giving out more than net asset value to you in cash. So I think these are really designed for investors that are prioritizing income over growth. Definitely more so than the non-T versions, right? You could expect a lot more either flat or probably declining stock price over time, in my opinion. But I do like the fact that they're resetting it. So if the NAV does decline, they'll reset it a bit lower. So they're targeting, they have specific targets. But I believe that some of these specific targets are less than the average. A lot of them are new, so we can't really tell. But if we look at ZWB, for example, you got me curious now. So something like a ZWB, if they're targeting 13% yield on this one right now, what is the average return, the average annual return of ZWB? We have a lot of information because it's been around for a really long time. Look at that, $4 billion in assets. If you go to performance, annualized performance, you see that in the last 5 years, 10 years, it's pretty high. So if we look at 10 years, it's 12.5%. So this target would actually work pretty well, right? Because it's pretty much in line with the average total return. What does that mean? Well, that means if ZWB has a 13% yield approximately, and the average return is about 13%, you could expect ZWB.T, their new target version, to pretty much have a flat stock price, right? You have a flat stock price, no growth, and you have that nice chunky 13% yield. But for example, let's look at ZWC, for example. Better yet, let's look at ZWU, because this one's been around for a long time. If you look at the performance, the last 10 years, it's only 7%, right? 8.76%. So this is way lower than their target 15%. So by definition, if you're giving 15% yield out with something that returns 7, less than half, you got to expect a declining net asset value over time by default. So I think, honestly, 15% for ZWU is a little bit rich. I don't know how they came up with these numbers. I think for some of them it makes sense if the average annual return is approximately that. because you'll get a flat stock price over time with that yield. So I think 13%, for example, makes sense on ZWB, but in my opinion, 15% does not make sense on ZWU unless you're willing to have a declining stock price over time, which some of you might not be, and that's completely fine, right? So just wanted to share this video, let you know what's going on with BMO. Again, it's still very strange to me that they're not embracing leverage. You know, why not just do a .L version, for the love of everything that is holy, right? You got .T. I think it's a really cool thing that they do another version so they don't have to change a strategy or anything like that. But why don't you just do a .L version with 25% leverage? I mean, this is do-it-yourself investing. Why don't you let the investor choose? Why not launch or try at least maybe start with one? Anyway, BMO knows my stance on this. You know my stance. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of these. I'm sure BMO is going to be looking at the comments. Are you interested in these? Is it just like a no thanks? I'm just going to go with my Hamilton and Harvest lightly leveraged ones and I'm just fine with those. Or yes, these are very interesting because I trust BMO as a brand. They have a lot of AUM. Let me know what you think of these guys. Personally, I don't think I'm going to be investing in them for obvious reasons that I keep repeating. But anyway, just want to share the news, and I'll put this stuff in the video description and pin a comment so you can check it out for yourself. So that's it for this video. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay passive, stay honorable. See you next time.